What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? It's your girl Angela. Back on. I know it's been a minute since I've been on. I've been like super busy trying to get stuff together. But yet again, I got something that we need to talk about. Okay? So, if you're watching this, you're tuning in, you can see the title on the video, the difference between a smart person and an intellectual person. That's what we're talking about right now. The difference between being smart and being intellectual. Now, some people may think, well, if I'm smart, does it mean I'm intellectual? It's the same thing. It's a synonym, isn't it? No, wrong. It's not. Being a smart person and being a wise person, two different things, okay? So, I want to just come on and get this little information out. How I came across this information, I was reading a book on one of my old phones, because I said in one of my other lives, you know, I find myself trying to download a lot more books on my phone than games. That way I don't get so caught up in social media or caught up in, you know, playing games on my phone and stuff like that. So I downloaded more books. And I forget the title of the book. Actually, you know what? I have this notebook here. Let me take a look at this real quick, because I actually wrote this down, if I am not mistaken. My first mind tells me that I wrote this down. I mean, if I didn't, it's okay, because that don't stop me from explaining what I have to explain and giving you guys the information I want to give you today. But, okay. I found where I wrote it down at, but I happen to have written it down differently. It showed in the book differently. Hi, my love. Hi, babe. It showed differently in the book that I got it from, but I interpreted my own definition of this, and I'm not saying that this person is wrong, but it makes more sense to me the way I broke it down, and I feel that it would make more sense to you all as well. The book that I was reading, it was about the law of attraction, first of all, but it gave a clever person and a wise person. Now, a wise person, that's something completely different. I will discuss that on a different day, but right now we're going to take smart and intellectual, okay? The difference between a smart person and an intellectual person. A smart person, you know, or clever person, has, as it was written in this book, the definition of someone who is clever or who's smart is one who remembers things. Now, there are a lot of smart people that walk the face of this earth. We know a lot of people who are really, really smart, you know, because they remember things. You know, our kids are really, really smart. You know, they go to school, they learn, they obtain the information, they remember it, and, you know, they get good grades and all that good stuff. Our kids, well, not all kids. Let me just say that, because let me not get into that. But, you know, our kids in school, our kids are smart. You know, we raise them to go to school, read books, pay attention to the teacher, do their homework, and all that good stuff, and get good grades and pass their tests and graduate and all that great stuff. An intellectual person, they put this as a wise person, and I disagree with that, so I'm going to give you what I wrote down in my notes. A wise person is one who remembers things and applies them to life. An intellectual person is one who remembers things and applies them to life, okay? It's one thing to be smart and to remember things, but, you know, a lot of people tend to forget the things that they once remembered, you know? Like they say, a mind is a terrible thing to waste, you know? When you learn, obtain, and you remember something, if you don't use that knowledge that you attained, you will eventually lose it, That's what that means. So to be an intellectual person never forgets anything that they remember because they remember it and apply it. And when you apply it, you're more likely to remember. It's like when you're working. Some people, when they go through training or whatever, they're a hands-on person. They can remember things, but they will soon forget them if they don't apply them and put them into action, because they learn better with their hands by actually doing things. Hey, Samantha, baby. They learn better by actually doing things, not just reading the information and remembering it because they know, like, damn, I'm going to forget that, So they remember the information and then they apply it. They take it out into action. That helps them to remember it, and it makes them, it increases their chances of them retaining it for a longer period of time and possibly never even forgetting it. Like once you ride a bike, you never learn how to forget. I haven't been on a bike in God knows how long, but I know if I go and hop my happy behind on my son's bike, I still know how to ride it. My dad taught me how to drive a stick shift when I got my first car. I haven't driven a stick shift since I was in high school, y'all. But I bet you I still know how to drive a stick shift. It's something that I never forgot. Even in my car now, it's an automatic, but I still have that mindset of driving a stick shift. You can ask my girlfriend. I keep my hand on the little gear thingy in the car, and when we're going on freeways or whatever, or I'm coming to slow down to a light, even if I have my right hand on the steering wheel, if we're coming to a stoplight or something, I have a habit of putting my right hand back on that shifter, even though it's not a stick shift, but it's the memory that I have and the feeling, of downshifting a manual transmission when I slow down and come to a stop. So, yeah, smart person, one who remembers. An intellectual person, one who remembers and applies these things. It's real simple, I want to kind of add, let me look at my notes here. I'm going to give you some other situations, circumstance, and examples of a person who would be smart versus a person who would be intellectual. This it's not always about like schooling or work or anything like that. It's about like everyday life situations, like relationships. There are some smart people in relationships, and there are some intellectual people in relationships. If you're a smart person, remember, being smart means you can remember things. That's it. You just remember. In a relationship, you have a quote-unquote smart person in a relationship. They get themselves in this relationship. The honeymoon phase is over. And, real life and the real relationship itself starts to set in. And, things kind of take a little bit of a turn for the worst. They begin, getting abused, used, mistreated. And, these smart people, hold on, y'all, got something in my eye. Okay. These smart individuals, they have this bad relationship, and somewhere down the line they actually get out of that bad relationship, and from that relationship that was absolutely horrible, they take the lessons from the relationship, like, okay, this is what an abusive relationship looks like. When this person or a person I'm with starts doing this or talking like that, I know that that's a path of someone who is an abuser, because I remembered it from the last relationship I was in, because that was the first time I had been in that type of relationship, and I remembered the things that happened. So you get into a relationship with this new person, and you start seeing all of the patterns of another abuser. Now, you remember that you were with an abuser once before and you saw the same things, but because you're so caught up in, love or lust or whatever it is, because that's also a different topic. There's a difference between love and lust. I'll go over that one day. But you kind of don't exactly do anything to get yourself out of it. And it may not even be because you don't want to get out of it, because you do. It may just simply be you don't know how. So because you don't know how, you just kind of like stick around and wait for things to kind of play out. You can't apply anything because you either don't know, or you're really so caught up in being in love with that person, you just don't want to. You want to do all you can to try to make it work. So you stay with that person. That's a smart person. You're smart enough to remember the signs of an abuser, yet you're not applying any type of skill or anything to remove yourself from the situation, okay? Then you have your intellectual person. Same thing. Intellectual person has been in a relationship once before with someone who's been abusive. They know the signs to look for. They know if they start acting like this way or talking like that way. They know that, okay, this person looks like they may be an abuser. Here's the difference between that smart and that intellectual person. They actually took the lessons that they remembered from the last abusive relationship and they apply them to the current situation, because even though the lessons were from a past situation, the lessons from that situation are perfect tools for the current situation. That's the point of learning lessons when you get into these different relationships that end up bad. That is the point of these lessons. You're supposed to not just remember them, but you're supposed to use them for a future reference should you need to. Okay? That is an intellectual person, remembering the signs of an abuser because they've been with an abuser and now they're with someone new who they thought would not have been an abuser, but they see the signs of them being that way and they're like, okay, hold on, pump brakes. I'm not going to go through this. I went through this once before. I know what it looked like. I know what it sounded like. I know what it feel like. I don't like it. And this is what I had to do to get myself out of it before. This is what happened, but I know what I need to do to get myself out of it. I'm not going to do it. And boom, they completely remove themselves from the situation, or they remove that person from, their surroundings. They completely eliminate that person, and they know to never, ever do that again, because they know what to look for. If it even seems the slightest bit like you send up one red flag and they're like, nope, not doing it, never again. It's like a child. When you're teaching your child the difference between right and wrong, what they should do, what they shouldn't do, yeah, your child may be smart, but they can be hard-headed at times, which means they know they ain't supposed to do something and they're going to do it anyway. That's hard-headed. That's not, very intellectual of your child because your child is never too young to be intellectual. You know what I'm saying? They can be intellectual for their age and circumstances. At least that's what I think anyway, because, we all know a child or two that's like too damn smart for their own good. Like, you done been here before. You older than me, ain't you? Everybody knows that. So, you get a child, you teach them right and wrong. They do something wrong, you discipline them for it. They remember that they get put in a situation to do something wrong again. Hey, Unique. They get into a situation to do the same thing again. But then they remember, like, last time I did this, I got my behind whooped, and that didn't feel so good. Maybe I should not do that. Matter of fact, I'm not going to say maybe I shouldn't do it. I'm just not going to do it because I remember how it felt to get in trouble when I did that the first time. And I learned my lesson and I applied that lesson, which is to just simply not do it because I don't want to get in trouble, you know? It's a very intellectual choice of your child to make. Unfortunately, not all our children make those intellectual choices. Unfortunately, but it happens. I mean, some of us as kids probably didn't make those intellectual choices. Some of us as kids was probably just a little bit rambunctious and rebellious, and you know, we got our butts whooped. I'm not gonna say our, because I didn't. I'm gonna tell you, I was that one intellectual child who knew after one good butt whooping to never ever do it again. Like, I can literally, honest to God, y'all, I can't even ever remember getting a whooping when I was a kid. I think I did like one really, really, really bad thing, and my mom didn't even waste her time whooping me because the punishment that I inflicted on myself from doing what I did was punishment enough. So, yeah. Hey, Miss Jones, baby, how you doing? So yeah, you know, I was that kid. I was that intellectual kid that, you know, took the lessons from doing something I wasn't supposed to do, or taking the lessons that my parents were teaching me, you know, when it came to trying to teach me right from wrong, and I just never did any wrong because I knew what the consequences were for doing wrong, and I didn't want that. So yeah, I cannot remember not one time ever getting a whooping when I was a kid. Never. And I mean, hell, I haven't even asked my dad. I ask my dad when you get home from work or something, like, did I ever get a whooping when I was a kid? Because I don't remember that, if I did, you know. But yeah, smart person, one who remembers things. A lot of people can remember things, you know, but do they take the things that they remember and actually use them in the future for, you know, whatever circumstances they may be valid for? Not all the time. And which that would make that particular person very ignorant, because, you know, there's a thin line between ignorance and stupidity as well. Someone who's stupid don't know any better, you know. They don't know that that's not what they're supposed to do. They just see it and they want to do it. But an ignorant person is somebody who knows that they're not supposed to do something, but they choose to do it anyway, regardless of the consequences. Now, you know, that would be, you know, pure ignorance. And believe me, ignorance is it's a horrible thing. Very horrible thing, especially for grown folks. For grown folks to be ignorant is just is outrageous to me. I don't even understand how. You know what, Nicole? You better knock it off. I just read that comment and remembered what you was commenting on. You better knock it off. But yeah, y'all. You know, in addition to being a smart or an intellectual person, I want to point out a person who is wise, or someone who has wisdom. Now, when it comes to a wise person or someone who has great wisdom, some people can have wisdom, but that doesn't necessarily make them a wise person. Someone's probably like, how in the heck could that even be possible? Like, if you have wisdom, aren't you wise? Nope. Just because you have wisdom does not make you a wise person. Because having wisdom, well, first of all, the definition I give to a wise person versus the definition they gave to a wise person in the book that I read. A wise person is someone who is intellectual and has a spiritual connection to God, or who is one with the universe. That's the definition of a wise person. Someone who's intellectual, they remember things, they apply them to their life, and they have a close connection with God. Okay? That is a definition of a wise person. But the difference between being a wise person and simply just having wisdom, you can, a lot of older folks, we know are baby boomers. These are people of great wisdom because they lived in a time where, things were a little bit more strict than what they are, nowadays. And, right from wrong was it was damn near cast it on your butt with a branding iron or something. Like, they know, you know what I mean? These people who have great wisdom, they are connected to God, yes, because, they go to church and they read the Bible. Some of them know their Bible from cover to cover. But here's where my opinion on being a wise person and simply just being a person that has wisdom is different. A person of great wisdom, again, remembers things, applies them to life, and has a connection with God. However, they only use that wisdom to benefit them and those close to them. They use, their wisdom and their spirituality and their connection with God to benefit themselves and those who are close to them. Okay? For instance, our big mamas, a lot of our big mamas is not here no more. We all know Big Mama took everybody to church on Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday. We sat in church for like 2 and 3 hours at a time. You went to Bible study. You went to church on this day. You went to like the kids' church. She was a part of the women's ministry, and she was one of the mothers of the church. Everything. Y'all did everything. A lot of our big mamas not here no more. Our big mamas are considered people of wisdom, and they used that God-given wisdom. They used their spirituality and their connection with God to help themselves, and to help those close to them, which would be us, or y'all, whoever, taking us to church and teaching us about the Lord and teaching us how to be God-fearing and teaching us how to pray and teaching us about the Bible. All of that wisdom, was used to benefit their family and keep their family close and keep their family tight knit, because a family that prays together stays together, and Big Mama knew that, But a true wise person with great wisdom is someone that, uses, the information that they remember, they apply it to their life. They have the connection with God, but they use it to benefit others, not just themselves and their family and friends, but they use that wisdom to help educate others who are not closely connected, such as myself. Prophets. Prophets are people of great wisdom. They are wise people. You hear it in the Bible, the wise men. These people were prophets. And, they used the connection with God and all they knew to help themselves, but they also, set out to help deliver, those messages from God to the people of the world, to try to bring them closer to God, to bring them together as one. It wasn't just for them and their family. It was for others as well, to try to bring people of great numbers on one accord with God. That's the difference. Myself, I've said it many times before. Some people still don't believe me. They may not believe me. And you know what? I don't care. I am prophetic. This is something that was God-given. Now, you can't learn how to be prophetic. You can't learn how to be a wise man like that. That is something that is only God-given, and that's a very big, significant difference. You know what I mean? I use my wisdom. I use my prophetic gift. I use my tongue to relay messages from God to people. You know, I may not be relaying scriptures or anything like that, but I still relay information to people, you know, that can help them live a godly life in an ungodly world. Okay? That is the big difference. That's why I am not only a person of wisdom, but I am a very wise person, because like I said, God blessed me with my prophetic gift, not just for me to be selfish with it and keep it to myself. I was blessed with this to spread it to others beyond my circle of family, friends, and loved ones. I was blessed with this to share far and beyond just me and mine, which is why I come on live and I share this information with you all, because I'm supposed to. I love doing it. I enjoy every second of it. This is what I was called to do, and believe me, every single time I do it, I am so greatly blessed. It's unbelievable. Like, yesterday was literally the best freaking day ever for me. You know, because yesterday, you know, I'm going to just go through it just real quick. Yesterday was the 9-year anniversary of my mother's passing. And on my Facebook, I put a post. Normally on that day, I'm really, really sad. But over the years, over the past 9 years, you know, I've cried my tears and you know, I've talked to God. I miss my mom dearly. She knows that I do, because there's not a day that goes by that I don't miss her and that I don't think about her. But because she was a wise woman of great wisdom given to her from God, you know, and me being as close to her as I was, that was something that was passed down or given to me, you know, not, you know, by her. You know, it was given to me at birth. Because again, I prophesized over my own life yesterday. I had a revelation and a prophecy of my own life yesterday, and can ask my girlfriend. It was crazy. It was a crazy, amazing experience. And it was like so many good things just happened back to back after I had that revelation and that prophecy over my own life. A whole bunch of good things just out of nowhere started happening. You know, we were sitting there, we were talking, you know, and I had a revelation about myself. When I was in the 5th grade, I was voted most likely to become a minister. And it wasn't until yesterday, out of all days yesterday, it was revealed to me that me doing these lives with you all was definitely what I was meant to do, because I was voted most likely to become a minister. And this is like me ministering. You know, I'm not ordained or nothing like that, you know, but this is like my ministry to me, you know, spreading this information and this positive energy out to you all. And I knew at that exact moment, even though I already knew it anyway, I didn't need any confirmation, because I knew it and I believe it wholeheartedly, and I always did. But it was just like the most crazy inner experience ever. It was like, you know, when I was voted most likely to become a minister in 5th grade, that was then, you know, the stamp on my life's mission. Because I was given, you know, that little certificate, that award, when I was in the 5th grade, okay? I was still a kid. I was an innocent soul, okay? Children are innocent souls, you know? Up until a certain age, they learn right and wrong from us as parents, you know? They themselves are innocent souls because they're children. And for me to be given and voted most likely to become minister when I was a young child, where I knew no wrong. I did no wrong. I had not committed any sin because I was an innocent soul. That was a stamp on my life's purpose that day. And I didn't realize that until yesterday, you guys. Out of all days, I didn't realize that till yesterday. When my mom passed away 9 years ago, I remember about a month before my mom passed away, I started having strange dreams. I started seeing strange things. I started having vivid dreams about, I had a dream about my auntie passing away, my mom's only sister. And coincidentally enough, well, not even coincidentally, because nothing happens by coincidence, everything happens for a reason. But interestingly enough, the morning I woke up after having that dream about my auntie dying, I woke up in a cold sweat crying. Strangely enough, it was that very same day my mother and I found out that my auntie was dead, that she had passed away. The very same day I woke up from having that dream. And about a week, before my mother passed away, I had a dream. I had a prophecy, a revelation of losing my mom, because in all reality, yeah, I knew it was going to happen because I saw my mom getting sick. I knew that I wouldn't have her anymore for very long because of the state that her health had, trickled down to. But to have that vivid dream of this is it, like it's about to happen. And when I got the phone call, 9 years ago yesterday, it was, I cried, I broke down, I damn near lost it. But at the same time, I knew that it was coming. Like God literally came to me and prepared me for it mentally before it happened. So that way, my grievance wasn't as harsh as it probably would have been had I been, blindsided by it, After my mom passed away, my dreams became a lot more vivid. I started seeing a lot more things within my surroundings, like orbs, figures. Like I've seen, not lately, but I've seen silhouette figures walking around. I've had dreams about demons, y'all. It is crazy. Like when I tell you I am prophetic, I mean that. You can believe me. You don't have to believe me, but I know what I've been through and I know what I've experienced. I've had several dreams about demons. I've come in contact physically on this earth in the flesh. I have come in contact with demons, y'all. Like real talk. Like I came in contact with a demon that ran from me when I realized what it was. Craziest experience ever. Like I've never, I fear no one but God. And technically I don't have to fear him because I would never do anything to suffer any consequences of my God, because I try to live a godly life in an ungodly world. But the day I came in contact with that demon, y'all, when I tell you, like fear, when I tell you guys that was true fear and terror, like you have no idea. I've been in a car accident where I've seen my life flash before my eyes, and by the grace of God, I walked away without a scratch, totaled my car on the freeway during rush hour traffic, y'all. I saw my life flash before my eyes, but I wasn't nowhere near as scared as I was the day I looked that demon in his eyes. Like, it's terrifying. Like, that paranormal stuff you see on TV, I watch it all the time. Like, that stuff is real, and it's crazy. But, yeah, is being smart. Let's just go back, because I'm about to get, way off. Was I scared? Heck yeah, I was. You know what? I'm not going to say I was scared. You were. I was, but I wasn't. I can't really figure out exactly how to explain it, but I felt in that moment as I looked that demon in its eyes, I felt in that moment so powerful. I mean, when I say the Spirit of God was in me, like, I felt so empowered by God that day. Like, I felt like I could just cast that demon away back to the pits of hell. Like, I was in the human mind, I was terrified. In the human mind and flesh, I was absolutely terrified. It's the scariest thing. Like I can't even explain how terrifying that was. Like, there's no words to explain that. But in my spirit, as I looked it in its eyes, looked it. You didn't, yeah, thank you. As I looked into its eyes, I felt so empowered by God. Like, I felt as if, regardless of how terrified my flesh was, my spirit would not let me break down and, become vulnerable to what I was facing, because I was facing it in the eyes of somebody who had become vulnerable. It wasn't like it was just like this random, it wasn't like I was sitting somewhere and I saw the silhouette and then all of a sudden the silhouette formed into a demon. I was looking in the eyes of someone who was very close to me at that moment, but in their eyes there was darkness. There was no feeling, no soul, no spirit. It was just darkness and anger and pain and deceit and lies and anything and everything negative. I looked into what were the eyes of the person at the time, and that person no longer existed in the soul. Like, what I was looking at there, it had no soul. It had never lived. Like it was crazy. It was crazy. Like, I really don't know how to explain that. Like, this is absolutely crazy. And it was crazy. I'll have to go into more detail about that one day when, I got a little time to just kind of talk it up with y'all and you guys. I'll have a free day. I'll open the floor so you guys can ask me questions about this stuff, and I feel free and I'll answer. That way you guys can get some more insight on it or whatever. But, let's go back to the original point of the video. Being a smart person, being an intellectual person, and then my addition, being a wise person. Being someone who is smart. One who remembers. You remember things. That's all you do. You remember them, but you go on about your life just doing little silly stuff, knowing that you know something in the back of your mind that can help you, or to guide you in a more harmonious path in life. An intellectual person. One who remembers things and applies them to life. You experience something, you learn the lesson, and you take the lesson and you apply it to your life after that point, should those lessons be valid in that situation that you later experience. And being a wise person who has wisdom. Just because you have wisdom doesn't make you a wise person. But what makes you wise is, being intellectual, remembering things, applying them to your life, but having a connection with God. That's a person of wisdom, someone who has a connection with God. But to be a true wise person, you take that spirituality, you take those lessons that you've learned from past experiences, and you bring those together and you share it with the masses to better benefit others and not just yourself and those around you. You put a bigger purpose on that, just like I do. I'm a person of wisdom. I am a wise person who has been blessed with the tongue to relay messages from from God, a higher power, however you want to look at it. And I take the lessons that I've learned throughout my walk of life and the connection that I have with God, and I take them both together and I use them to help myself. I use them to help my family, and I use them to help others who don't even know me from a hole in the ground. Why? Because that's God's love in me. You know, I want to help any and everyone that under the sound of my voice in any and every video to become happier. I want to help everyone learn the tools it takes to live a godly life in an ungodly world. You know, I want to help teach people some common sense, and the reason why I say that is because not everybody has common sense either. Common sense is also God-given, and if you don't believe me and you have a Bible, or you can download a Bible on your phone, most likely it would be better if you actually have a hard copy Bible. If you don't believe that common sense wisdom is God-given like that, open up your Bible, go to Proverbs. And the introduction of Proverbs, the key word in Proverbs is wisdom, you guys. Wisdom, wisdom, wisdom. It's common sense. It's in the Bible. So, with that being said, y'all, I have nothing else for the day. Hopefully I said something that, was helpful. And if I did, I encourage you to please share the live. And once again, circulate this information around to others who need it as well. Help me to help you. Help me to help others, and help me to help myself. Let's spread the knowledge, spread the good energy, spread the positivity, spread the love, y'all. So, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here and continue with my day. Got stuff to do. But, remember, if no one has told you that they love you today, I love you. And remember, that's God's love. Peace, y'all.